How are you guys doing? We are exactly 6 o'clock. How about that? Never happens. Oh, it's not gonna let me. Hi guys. I've been working away today, making a new card with the interactive card I showed you the other day. Sorry, my dog's bed is in the way of my stool. I need to see the comments. So hi guys, just logging on. Hello Roxanne, how are you today? So this is the card that we made the other day. Yes. Roxanne says she's doing okay. Hello, Cheryl from Virginia. So if you guys don't mind, could you just comment to say that you're here? You know, you have us over here going, did we do it right? Did we do it right? Every single time. So just comment and let us know that you're here. I have a whole new way to make our interactive card. Well, I say a new way. A different way with totally different techniques based on the same, sort of, kind of. Hi, Susan. How are you guys doing today? Did you have a good day? Hi, Karen. Interactive cards are always fun. Cooler today in Kansas. I'm gonna be honest, I've been working all day. What is it? I haven't even gone outside. What's the temperature outside, babe? Is it hot, cold? What is it?
82.
82. Is there humidity?
Yeah.
A little. So Matt said, hi, Kath. Matt said it was 82 outside today, but the little bit of humidity. So that means it was hot. Definitely. Definitely hot out there. Karen, if you can hear me, can you go to the community page and just see if people are waiting for us to go live there in case they didn't read it on the graphic that it said YouTube channel, if you don't mind. And Karen's going to be with us tonight, and so is Matt, my husband. So guys, we don't have a lot of people logging on yet. Hot today in LA, yes. It was very hot. Susan, did you win our prize? One of our prizes for our 7 and 7? I think that was you, right? You were one of our lovely people that won. Okay, so I'm going to show you something while we're waiting, just because I didn't have time to do this ahead of time. So my name is Nicole Peterson. I'm the owner and designer for Picket Fence Studios. My husband is here also, Matt Peterson. And Karen is on. She's going to be our moderator. And probably a few of my other design team members and friends will be here also. Yes, you did. Awesome. So I'm going to water down paper. I'm going to do some flicking on my card. So I want to water down some of my paper glaze, which is one of our mixed media products. So paper glaze is a super smooth medium. A super smooth medium that you can use through stencils. You can apply it directly to paper. You can water it down. You can paint with it. There's so many different techniques that you can do. However, the one that I grabbed has paper enhancer in it.
What are you looking for?
I need Snowdrop that doesn't have paper glaze enhancer in it. So I was pulling out my paper glaze, and this is our Snowdrop white. However, I can look at it because normal paper glaze is super pearlescent, And when I looked in this jar, this must be a jar that I added our paper glaze enhancer to, the paper glaze, because it has like a more of a matte finish to it. So I'm gonna have to go grab another jar. It's in that set of drawers. Just get one up there if you can reach it. Look up there. All right, so Matt's gonna go get me another jar. I need to label this jar. I need to put that I added paper glaze enhancer to this. Hi, Holly. Awesome. Can you grab baby wipes and wipe that off? All right, so while people are coming on, I'm going to get back to watering down paper glaze. So paper glaze is one of our mixed media products, and it is a super, there we go. That's one that doesn't have paper glaze enhancer in it. So it's super pearlescent creamy medium that is water-based. So one thing that you can do with paper glaze is you can actually water it down. Excuse me. You can water it down and use it on your cards for flicking. But what's super cool about it also is that when you put it on top of paper, it doesn't absorb into the paper, it dries on top of it. So with the card that we're going to be making tonight, it has a whole bunch of watercoloring on it because I used zig markers. Michelle's been challenging me today to say the word zig as many times as possible, because I teased her about I love her Australian accent with the word zig that she was using the other night. So every time you hear me say zig, it's because Michelle, I was teasing her the other night about, I like the way she says zig. So she told me that tonight I have to use the word zig, which it was great because I'm going to be coloring with zig anyway. So all I did was add a little bit of water. Thanks, babe. A little bit of water to this. And I probably put too much water, knowing me. So I'm just going to mix this up while we're waiting for a few people to come on. Yes, it is. So curious of what it is look like when it's splattered. So paper glaze is, it will resist other mediums. So when you put it onto a card, it will not absorb into the card, okay? And I put way too much water, so I have to add more paper glaze. There really isn't a formula for this. It's just kind of like add some water to it and make it kind of soupy-like. And so I'm gonna use this as snow later on, but I wanted to have time to mix it, and I didn't have time ahead of time. So I'm just going to let this sit in here, and we probably won't get back to it for at least another hour. So I'm just going to put it to the side. But what's cool about the paper glaze that's watered down is it won't absorb into the paper. Earlier, I used a different brand product, and I'm not going to tell you what product because I don't like to badmouth other companies or other products. But it did not sit on top of my watercoloring. It actually absorbed into the watercoloring. So because it did that, it didn't give me the snowy look that I was looking for. But I do know that paper glaze, when you water it down, it definitely will give you a finished look, and it won't absorb into the water. It will, into the paper. It will stay on top. Okay, so this is the card. So my name is Nicole Peterson. Welcome. This is Picket Fence Studios. We live in South Louisiana. My name is Nicole Peterson, and my husband is here also, Matt Peterson, and we're the owners of Picket Fence Studios, and I'm the designer as well. So I wanted to come on and do another live tonight because I absolutely loved creating this card with you guys. What night was it? Was it Wednesday night, Thursday night? It was one night this week. So I had so much fun working on this card that I wanted to make another one. So I decided I would come on and do this with you guys. So this video here is on Picket Fence Studios community page. So if you would like to see how I made this card and you're on our community page, you can just go and find the video there. Not right now, but later on. And then if you're not a member of our community page on Facebook, go ahead and just, it's 3 little questions you have to answer that if you're a crafter, you'll know them right off the top of your head. But I have another little twist on this type of interactive card because this was a really big card and I wanted to make something a little bit smaller to see how it would turn out. So this is what I came up with, okay? So here's a new card, a new size card, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So I was watercoloring, thank you guys. So I was watercoloring for a long time today, so I didn't have time to actually put the sentiment on this card, but this is what we're going to make tonight. So this would go right here where it says Merry Christmas, one of our word topper dies. So when a recipient of this card opens it up, this would be the outside. I mean, you want to put something pretty on the outside. But when it opens up, the Santa Claus pops up as well as the word Merry Christmas. So then you have a lovely scene that's been painted and all ready for that person to look. Yeah, it's really, it turned out really good. And I also have some little presents that I want to add in his, in Santa Claus's bag, his bag full of goodies. So this is, these are all our products, Picket Fence Studios. So we are going to be working with this tonight. So here's another red Santa Claus. Here's one I did in silver. This is the die that we're going to be using. It's a A2 cover plate die. So when you turn it over, it actually looks like this. And he has a little present attached to him. But it also comes with 2 other presents and a little word that says Santa's coming to town. So this would actually cut out into your card, or it'll be little letters that you can add to something. So we're going to work with that tonight, as well as our Merry Christmas word topper die. So this will be the main 2 dies that we use tonight, these 2 sets. I'm sure Karen will drop links in there for you guys. We also are going to be using 2 types of paper glitz. So we're going to work with red, and this is called True Christmas Red. And our paper glitz is hand mixed in-house in South Louisiana. I'm the inventor, and can't really see it on here. Babe, can you help me? I can't get the different glitters to show up. So our glitz has, what's different about our glitz compared to other glitter pastes that are out there is ours have between 7 and 11 different colors of glitter. So because of that, you're going to get a much more depth. You're going to get much more depth and dimension. Would this be better? Depth and dimension to your projects, because you won't have like a flat red. It'll have a red base to it, and then with all these different glitters in it that allow you to have, like I said, much more depth and dimension. We also are going to use Sparkle, which is another paper glitz. Now I have a full sheet of Sparkle right here, so that should be easier to see. So Sparkle comes out like a silvery, whitish clear. I wouldn't say it's like clear completely. It does have a silverish tone to it, but you can see on white paper, it looks pretty clear, right? And I'm going to show you guys how to create this on this piece of paper, which is really easy and not with a lot of waste. So we're going to do that. And we're going to use this stamp set, which is called Winter Comes to Town. So we're going to use this large scene right here. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to color it. And it won't, hopefully it won't take as much time as it took me earlier. Hi, Dawn. So here, this is our scene that we're going to work with. All right. So the first thing I want to do is, before we get started with anything else, I want to go ahead and show you how I made the paper that I used to cut out Santa Claus. Okay. This is a full A2 cover plate that we have in store. And we are having a flash sale, by the way.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen what's on our flash sale, it is on our website, right on the first page. And we have 3 items that are on flash sale, and I don't know what they are. What are they?
Sentiment set.
So a sentiment set.
Ways to express yourself.
Called Ways to Express Yourself, which works great with our word topper dies. What else?
Lavender cover plate.
Oh, our lavender cover plate, which actually that's funny that it's on flash sale, because when that lavender cover plate came out in January of this year, it sold out like so fast, and we waited honestly like 5 months for it to come back. No idea what took it so long, but because it took so long to come in, we ended up with a lot of extras. So you guys get to take advantage of that. And
Irish coffee.
yes, and hi Essie, and get to purchase it at it's pretty much, is it half off?
Not quite.
A little bit over half off, under half off, yeah. Okay, and then we have a sequence mix, which is called Irish coffee, which is perfect for this time of year because it's browns, and don't remember what else. So I'm just going to stop there so I don't say anything else about it. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you real quick how to make paper using paper glitz. Okay, so I'm going to use True Red Christmas. And I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And whenever you open paper glitz, you need to always make sure you're giving it a really good stir, okay? Because the mica and glitter will have separated from the mixture, and you want to just give it a nice, good stir. And I like to scrape the sides and make sure I'm getting everything under the rim so I get all that glitter nice and mixed up. This is our only product that you have to stir. But because there's so much glitter and mica in it, it tends to separate, but all you have to do is stir it right up and it's good to go. So what I do is after I stir it, I'm working on a gel plate. So the last time I showed you guys this, we talked about, wow, I wonder what would happen if you did it on top of a gel plate. Because last time I kept getting these really large lines. This is the paper glaze. Snowdrop paper glaze with paper glaze enhancer in it. So here I was able to make like a snowy background, but it came out and it had these really large, large lines in it, which was good for the snow, but I really didn't want that to go with my paper glitz. So I figured out, well, let me go ahead and use a gel plate, and this gel plate is dedicated just for this. I'm okay if my gel plate gets a little messed up. I'm good with that. And this is like a dedicated gel plate just for this. All right, so what I do is, and I know I had a spoon, don't know where it went, but I did have a spoon. So a jelly plate this is what it looks like. So it's a super thick mat, which allows you to cushion. Okay, so when you're working on projects, it also allows different background techniques to get made. But tonight we're using it just for the qualities of it having, giving us nice cushion underneath what we're going to do. So I'm going to take about this much of our, what is this called? Of our True Christmas Red, and I have a brayer. And this brayer is beautiful, isn't it? It is coated with the first color I ever used it with, which is Fall Golds. So I'm going to go ahead and I literally just roll this on, okay? It just rolls on. Now, I think I'm gonna need a little bit more than what I put on there. So usually I use a spoon when I do this, so I can measure it. And I know I had a spoon, but I don't know where it went. So I just roll this on. There we go. There's no certain paper that I use for this, or honestly any special technique. I'm just rolling it on here. And this can be as thick or as thin as you like. And do you see this line that I'm getting right here? That's because paper glaze dries super fast. And when I put that down, it had already started to dry, so it kind of made a line right there. Good lesson to learn. Don't just wipe the excess off. So I'm just going to come, and I'm literally just brayering this on. No special technique. I did notice that last time I did this, I did not get the edges as well. So this time I just want to make sure I go all the way to the edge so I don't waste any paper. Just a little bit more. And it might look like I'm using a lot, but honestly, there's a whole lot in this paper glaze jar. So this, I'm using actually very, very little of the paper glaze. So there you go. And it's super cool. I'm gonna pick this up. It's super, what's great about it is that it gives you such a nice finish. I mean, you're gonna have a little bit of texture to it just because it has glitter in it, but it doesn't have, when you do it on a gel plate, look at the difference. This I did just on the surface of my desk, and you see those lines, and this on top of the jelly plate. Super, super cool. So fun. So this, I'm just going to peel it off, and I would give this probably, for it to be able to be die cut. Now, I don't mean to cut. You can probably cut it within half an hour. It'll be dry. But to die cut it, meaning, you know, put a whole lot of pressure on it and get your dye, I would give it at least an hour. It all depends on where you live. It's all about the climate, right? And I put it down. So I'm just literally, I usually just toss this on the floor in my studio, and the dogs know to stay away from it. No one has walked in it yet as of now. They're pretty good, they know that. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make this. To make this snow light paper. So the snow light paper, and you can see it's so super cool. It has this like amazing texture, and you can't buy this. I mean, this is just something. So I'm gonna take another piece. Oh, let me just wipe this red off real quick. So I'm still gonna work on my jelly plate. And I'm calling it a jelly plate. Sometimes I call it a gel plate, a jelly plate. Sometimes I call it by the brand instead of the actual product that it is. So here, and like I said, this is just a dedicated jelly plate that I use to this. However, on the other side, I used this the other day, and Glitz just rubs off. So if Glitz dries on your jelly plate, look at that. You don't even need to use any product. It just comes off your jelly plate, like right there, all gone. So it is a great product to use on your gel plate. So babe, I need that brayer, darling. He took my brayer. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create this snow look, and I actually already have it mixed. I showed it to you guys earlier. So this is our paper glaze in Snowdrop White, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another product that I invented called Paper Glaze Enhancer. And what Paper Glaze Enhancer does is it takes your pearlescent paper glaze medium and it turns it to a matte finish, meaning a flat finish. So I'm going to take, it's pretty much like a 1-to-1 ratio. This one already has some in it. So I'm just going to stir this up. And if you do this ahead of time, I do suggest you label your lid. So when I'm done with this live, I'll just put PGE on the outside of it. That way you don't accidentally grab a jar of, you know, that is full of the actual real paper glaze. So this, I'm just mixing it up, and it automatically takes away the pearlescent of it. And you know, you might say, well, why do you want to take the pearlescent away, Nicole? That's like part of the whole reason why we love paper glaze. Well, I came up with Paper Glaze Enhancer because I really wanted you to be able to stretch your products that you purchase from us and use them in multiple ways. It's good, babe. All right, so Matt has cleaned off the brayer for us. He cleaned it really well. So what we're gonna do is I'm just going, so this, remember, is Paper Glaze Snowdrop White and Paper Glaze Enhancer. So I'm just going to take it, probably put too much. And I have it on my paper, and he cleaned off my brayer. But remember, this is my dedicated brayer for this technique, so it doesn't bother me. So right here, all I'm doing is just rolling this on. Isn't that so incredibly cool? I know it's probably not very nice of me to call my own products cool, but you know, sorry. I do like them. So I'm just taking this is just Snowdrop White Paper Glaze and Paper Glaze Enhancer, just mixed together. And it gives you this incredible finish that you can then allow to dry and use it for die cutting, for snow. All right, look how easy that is. It takes longer literally to clean if you're gonna clean your brayer, which I think I will clean this one, or Matt will clean it for me, because I don't want this will dry with the texture on my brayer. So, oh, actually it just comes right off. So I am going to clean my brayer real quick. All good. And then I'm done with this. So that's it. So that's how fast and easy it was to create a piece. Look at that. Isn't that awesome, guys? So there's your snow paper. And this die cuts really, really well. Very well. No reason for you to be modest. Thank you, Brandy. But you know, raised to, you know, not be whatever. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this to the side, and we're going to get started with our card. I just wanted to show you these techniques because I will be using this paper. I will be using the dried versions of these paper on the card. So I just wanted to get that out the way and show you guys how to do that while everybody else was getting on the channel. All right, so now what we're going to do is, and we will be longer than an hour, probably 2 hours. So I understand if you can't stay that whole time. I get it. But this is a pretty intense card because I'm going to show you the watercoloring on this. But this is the card that we're going to make. Hello, Michelle. Hey, Michelle, we're going to be using Zig markers. So this is the card that we're going to make. I literally finished, actually I didn't get to finish this card. Yes, she did say Zig. So right here, this is the card that I'm going to show you how to make. So I would have normally glued this onto my card, but I didn't have time. So when you give this card to your recipient and they open it up, your Santa Claus will pop up as well as your word that says Merry Christmas. Okay, and you don't have to use these colors. This was just the colors that I just so happened to pick. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to put this one to the side. And I'm going to show you a different way to make this card compared to what we did on Wednesday when we made the long version of this interactive card. So this is going to be a shortened, or literally like a shortened version, not shortened as in time, but half of it. So I do have my scoreboard and a piece of paper. And what we're going to do this time is, instead of scoring where we put our paper long ways, we're actually going, no, we're going to put it this way. So it actually ends up being the same exact configurations. This paper is 8.5 by 11. So to make my fold, I'm going to score at, I'm going to score at 5. This is the wrong paper. I'm sorry, guys. That would have been a big mess. I need to use Bristol Smooth. Because we'll be using Zigs tonight, we're going to be using Bristol Smooth cardstock. Not regular cardstock. Normally you would just grab a piece of regular cardstock, but tonight we're going to be using Strathmore Bristol Smooth. All right, and this paper is 9 by 12. So we're going to have to cut this down to a piece of 8.5 by 11. So let me get my trusty trimmer out. So it's 9 by 12, so we're going to have to cut it down to 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to cut it down real quick. And then I will show you how to score it. Now Bristol Smooth, it's a coated paper. It's thicker than regular paper, like regular cardstock. However, it has this like coating on it, which allows you to use it as a mixed media paper. At least that's what I always call Strathmore Bristol Smooth. I consider it a mixed media paper, not like a watercolor paper. It's not really considered watercolor because it's not 100% cotton. It has this coating on it though that allows you to use watercolor markers with it. So I'm going to start again by scoring at, it's 11, so 5.5. So there's my first score. Then I'm going to score at every 1/2 inch, well, not every, 3 1/2 inches on the right. So there's 6. There's 6.5. There's 7. So that's 3 on this side. That's 3 on this side, and then I'm going to start going back to the left. So that's 5.5. So I'm going to do 5. And then I'm going to do 4.5. And I'm doing 1/2 inch increments because that's what I find is easy to work with. You actually can use 1/4 of an inch increments if you like, but you don't have to. I have an increment wrong. What did I do? 5.5, 5. Hold on, guys. 5.5, 6. What happened here? Maybe it's just my eyesight. Ooh, I scored this one on the wrong. Scored this line wrong. It'll be okay. Okay. So I score first in the middle at 5.5, and then I scored at 1/2 inch intervals to the left and the right. So it's 3 score lines to the right and 3 score lines to the left. Now this paper gives you a little bit more trouble than a regular piece of cardstock because it really has these thick fibers in it. So it takes a little bit more folding than it would if it was like a regular thinner piece of cardstock. So I'm just breaking all those fibers in the paper by folding it. This one, no, it's good. So I don't even think we're gonna see that mistake that I made. All right, so let me fold it back. So I'm just accordion folding this on the score lines, and I am working it backwards and forwards twice because I wanna make sure these lines are nice and worked because we're going to be watercoloring and stamping on this piece of paper. I want to make sure it's right. Okay, so now we're going to accordion. Actually, before we accordion fold it, we're going to cut this in half. So let me grab my paper trimmer. So last time we did this card, we used this whole piece of paper. This time, we're actually going to cut it in half. That's not me at your door. Nope, that's not you, huh? I heard somebody, they were making a delivery. So this paper is 8.5 by 11. So I need to put this out. So 8.5, half of that would be 4.25. So we're going to cut this into 2 pieces. So actually this will make 2 cards. Okay. Then I actually already have this part done and stamped for us, so we don't have to wait for me to stamp it for you. It's supposed to be here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we have 2 halves, okay? So what I did is I took 1/2 and I used the stamp set that I showed you earlier. This is the Village. And I just put it into my Misty, okay, like this. I inked it up with my black hybrid ink, which is Copic and watercolor friendly. It actually, this type of ink is really good with every kind of medium you can pretty much use it with. And I made sure it's already dry. So I just stamped that in the black. So we're a little ahead with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to glue it down right away. Okay, like glue the pieces together. We're going to watercolor, well, we're going to use zig markers. Now, a lot of people think zig markers are actually watercolor. They're not. You can watercolor with your zig markers. However, make sure you don't do it under a fan. But you, they're not really a watercolor. They're more of like a hybrid ink that you can watercolor with. But tonight, what we're going to do is, and I have all the colors here, pulled them out, and we're going to use quite a few colors. But I'm going to show you a different technique than just watercoloring with them. So here, I did watercolor with them. Using a watercolor brush, and I probably will come in a little bit and watercolor a little bit, but I really wanted to do it a little bit faster than watercoloring. So this is the zig with watercolor, and if you notice, I also added ink blending. This time you guys wanted stars. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. So I have my watercolor brush. And I also have this is meant for like rhinestones to separate, but I like to use these as little water dishes. So I am going to put a little bit of water in this and just put that to the side to where if I need to dip my water brush, I can. So earlier I ruined one of my markers because I stuck the entire marker into water. And then it was trash. So zig markers, actually, the company says that they don't absorb water when you place them down, but guys, they do absorb water. If you have water down and you touch the marker with into that pool of water, it will absorb and it changes the properties of the ink. I've destroyed many markers. So let's go ahead and start with coloring this house blue. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this aqua blue, which is called cobalt blue and cool gray. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to quickly scribble. I'm going to try to do it without getting out the lines. Normally when I color with markers, I will clear emboss to create a resist. However, since this card was scored, I knew it was going to move when I went to stamp it again twice. So we're just going to risk it and pray that I manage to stay within the lines. So I'm just coming here and I'm just literally adding color. Now, if you want, you can come in here and color the whole entire thing. Now, guys, with it. Now, these zig markers are Zig Clean Color Real Brush. It's a hybrid ink. They do sell Zig markers, and it kind of looks like this, but those are just regular markers with just regular dye ink in them. You really, if you want to use these markers, the Clean Color Real Brush are the ones that I'm using. And like I said, it's more of a hybrid ink. It's not just a dye ink placed into a marker, okay? It's more of a hybrid blend, which is why the only paper it truly works on is Bristol Smooth. So now what I'm going to do, and it actually comes with a blender brush where you can blend this, but I'm just going to use a marker that's similar in shade. This is called Cool Gray 1. So normally I would use a water brush right here, but tonight I'm just going to do it a little bit faster by blending it with another Zig marker. And I am picking up the blue of the darker blue with this marker. However, it's okay. You can scribble it off. So I'm just coming in here, and this looks like a kindergartner, or worse, a pre-K. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, so now that I have the color smeared around, I'm going to come in with my water brush and I'm just going to dab. And I'm just going to move the color around and give it a more of a watercolor look. I'm not going for perfection. There is water in this water brush. However, tonight, since I'm doing this in front of you live, I have a little, like I said, a little bit of water that I'm just dipping my brush into. So that way it just goes a little faster. I am going to leave white. I'm not going to color the whole thing in. Thank God that's a technique, right? Where you don't have to color the whole thing in perfectly. Maybe that was invented by someone like me that likes to leave white. Oh, don't color the whole thing, just leave it. So you see how cool that is? That I just went in with those two colors and used it to blend, and it automatically gave me shading. So there's our blue house. So next, what other color? Let's go to red. Now, earlier, when I colored the red house, now I'm not going to color right there. I'm going to start over here with the red house, not directly on top of where the blue is. Earlier, I didn't put enough red down on my house, so I am going to put more red this time than I did the blue. So I'm really going to, like I said, put more red than the blue, because this red, I don't know, it kind of washes out a little bit. It doesn't stay nice and bold red. So you do have to put more down than you would of different colors. This is why I like to clear emboss on top of my image. So I have little valleys and I don't have to be so perfect with not getting outside the lines. Okay. So I'm going to use another red. This is Geranium Red. This is a little bit darker, but I'm going to use this red to add some more depth to this. Because like I said, the zig marker that they call red, it's a little bit more orangey, if you ask me. This is more of a true red, this Geranium Red, but it is darker. So I wanted a red that would go with my aqua house next door to it. So I'm just going to add some of this to it. Just add. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with my water brush and I'm just going to move that around. And I'm not going to go for perfection, like I said. And I am going to be misting this or flicking white on top of this. So that also will help it hide any imperfections. Hopefully I don't have my head in the way. Any imperfections that come about. So as you can see, the water gives it movement and allows the two colors to just blend. So actually it does a lot of the blending work for you, and it's not so much work as if you were using like real watercolors like Daniel Smith or any type of real watercolors. This is a really good cheater way to get a watercolor look without spending hours. Okay, so there's our red. So next I'm going to come with gray. Now the zig markers in gray, they can be a little deceiving. What's cool about zig markers is you can actually color on your palette or right here a glass mat, and then pick the color up with your brush and transfer it. And a lot of times with the darker grays, with zig markers, I find that they do sometimes give you a little bit more trouble with blending than other type of markers. Sorry, I got my surface wet. But right here, I'm just going to come in and I'm going to, this is Shadow Mauve. So it's like a bluish kind of grayish color. And then I'm going to come in with a darker gray, blue gray. And I'm just going to add some blue gray just to add a little bit more of a second color to give us some more depth. So I'm just going to wet the center of this. Then I'm going to come around and just blend it with my water brush. Now zig markers, they are a little deceiving. They're different than like a watercolor because they're deceiving with when they dry. They can very easily, oops, I got a little red, but I can just pick it up with a baby wipe. Also, I like to use my baby wipe if I make a mistake or if I just want to blot out something. You can always come in with your baby wipe and blot it out. So I'm just going to let that dry. Yeah, see you later, darling. Okay, so let's come in with some brown. I have oatmeal. Oatmeal is actually my favorite brown of zig markers. This is the one I had to throw away earlier because I stuck it in water. But I'm going to come, and actually I think I'm going to, this house. Just going to come in and scribble some brown. Then I'm going to come in with a darker brown called Mid Brown. I'm just going to add it where there would be highlights. And then always make sure you cleaned your water brush because, you know, that would have been horrible if I had red still on there. So I'm just going to wet this brown, and then I'm going to come in and blend in the outside edges. And I'm going to leave it just like that. I'm going to let it work itself out and come to whatever colors it decides it wants to go to. Next, I'm going to paint, what is this one? Not the right one. Where's my marker? Isn't it amazing how they can all be in front of you, but you can't find the one that you want? Oh, here it is. So I'm going to come in here with this cool gray, and I'm going to just scribble this house because I want it to be gray, but I'm going to have to come back because it's this other house next door to it is still a little too wet. So I'm just going to lay this gray down, and then I'm going to come back. So let's do the roof of the blue house, and I'm going to use this cool gray to give it some color. And then I'm going to come back with black. Oh no, that's navy. And you might say, Nicole, why are you adding black? Black is one of my favorite colors. Black just gives you that punch that you might need when it comes to coloring. Just that added little bit of flair. Now look at that. Doesn't that black just look fantastic with that blue? So I'm just going to come in here, and like I said, we're not coloring this for perfection, so I am going to leave. So it's not so simple. All right, now let's see. Let's color the door brown. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm actually going to color this whole door brown. And while I'm at it, I'm going to color this stoop brown. Then I'm going to come back with mid brown and just add a little bit. And then I could come back with my water brush, or I could just use the first light shade to blend it in. So I'll do this. just to give it a little blend. And I think I'm going to also just blend it out. Okay. It's my water brush. Got a little bit too much right there. Okay. Let's see. What color should we do? Oh, I know. I wanted to do... I have a navy blue brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into this house and I'm just going to add this navy blue along the edge. And remember, I had used that cool gray right there. So I'm just going to take the cool gray and pull this out. Now, I like high contrast, which if you couldn't tell, I like things to punch, not be, not totally blended in. I like them to have, like when I look at something, I can tell the difference between the colors used. All right, so I'm gonna come and color this roof, but I think I want this roof, now it's snow, right? So let's see, I'll come in with cool gray again. Then I'm going to add a little bit of, I don't want to do mauve. I'll do a little tiny bit of blue, just a little bit, not much. And then I'll come back in with my cool gray and give it a little smear. I think I'm going to remove some of that blue with water. There we go. Just to make it look a little bit more like ice on a roof. Just a little bit more. All right, now we're going to go and add brown. And brown is a really important color. I know people, you know, when it comes to coloring, this is that oatmeal shade that's really light. And I literally am just scribbling it. And then I'm going to come back with that mid brown and just highlight these shutters. Just like that. And I am going to add a little bit more dark brown coming down there from earlier. All right, I have a yellow, so I'm going to make it look like there's light coming from this house just by adding a little bit of yellow. And the same thing, I'm going to add some yellow up here. And I'm not going to do it to every window in this house because maybe some of them are sleeping, but just a few of the windows. A little bit in here. Oh, and over here with the blue house. All right, that stoop, I want to color that a dark brown, blue, black, if I can get my words out. Where is it? That is rude, Michelle, the audacity. What did Michelle say? I'm back. The shopping delivery arrived at just the wrong time. Ugh. The nerve of them people. Don't they know better than that? So this is a gray. And then I'm going to come in with my black. And I'm just going to add a little bit on either side and then smear it out. I actually am going to come in and I'm going to take a baby wipe and I'm just going to push it down right there. And you'll notice what it did is it actually blended it for me, and it took just a little bit of black out because I had a little bit too much. And before it dried, that let me get rid of some of the black. So now I'm going to put a little bit of black onto my surface. So I'm just going to come in and add that. So what color am I going to put that door? That one is brown. Let's color the green in. Might not even need to color that door at all. So I have 2 greens. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and I'm going to color most of this in with a light green. This is light green is the name of it. And I'm going to try not to color actually, you know what? I'm going to color my lights yellow right now, because if I don't, I have a tendency to color over them. So I'm just going to color these yellow. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of colors. There's a little bit here and there. All right, so now I'm going to come with this light green, and I'm just going to flick some color. And then I'm going to come back with, this is green. The name of this color is just green. And I'm just going to zigzag and follow my design and add some dimension. Now, that is a really fast colored tree. Okay, so let me come in here. We might not even need to color that door, which I'm sure we will. I don't think Matt's paying attention to questions. I think he's abandoned me. I can hear him. What are you doing in there?
Scrubbing your brayer.
Oh, he's cleaning my brayer. Babe, you don't have to get it totally clean. Yeah, he does. Okay, well, you make yourself happy just cleaning that brayer. I would totally leave the brayer as is. I'm going to put a little bit more yellow. All right. I'm going to come in and add some green. Just little flicks of green. Sometimes I don't use 2 colors. I actually will color everything with the zig first, add water to it, and then come back with colored pencils. And the reason, actually, I like colored, but actually it's not a colored pencil. It's they're pastels in a colored pencil form. And the reason I do that is because I like the way that colored pencils look and add texture to whatever it is you're working on. All right, oops, how did that happen? Let's scoot down a little bit. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we're gonna come in and color my chimneys, and they're going to be brown. Brown chimneys with a little bit, so now you guys can see it better, with a little bit of dark brown added to it. I'm just going to scribble that in. Okay, this window. So let me, no, I don't want to do. Let's do red. Let's color this red. That'll give that window a little va-va-voom. And where? So I think I'm gonna do my baby wipe trick where I'm adding water to it just by pushing the baby wipe. And that way I don't have to try to go into those little bitty details. The baby wipe will do it for me. I'm gonna add some dark brown to this. Okay, what color are we gonna color that door? Let me come over here and add some water now that this navy blue has dried. All right, I can't leave this green like this. I gotta go back and add some green. Can't leave this white. so let's see. Yeah, it is looking pretty good. What are we gonna color that door though? Oh, you know what? We're gonna color this black. So I'm gonna get this gray first. And then I'm going to come back in with some black. Make it pop. Do you guys ever throw your markers down and mess up your project with your marker? I'm horrible at that. Okay. Actually, let me add a little bit more black down here. I'm going to color this pot. Okay, gotta color that that door. The door's really annoying me tonight. A red door? You guys think this door should be red? On the blue house? You think? Tell me if you want a red door. Why don't we do this? Why don't we color this whole thing brown? And then we'll come in and make just the inside, the insets of the door red. We'll compromise. All right, how about that? Add a little bit dark brown. Yeah, I like the door red. Not completely red because the house next door to it is so red, but yeah, I like that. All right, so now let's go and do our ground. I'm going to start by, this is like the edge of the sidewalk, not the edge, like the side of the sidewalk, I guess you could say, if you're looking at it. So it's the edge. So I'm going to want to paint that or color that. I want it to be dark. So I'm going to do gray and black. And then I'll come in and let the gray blend it. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of water. So before I took this, picked this up, I wiped it on my apron to get rid of any excess water. So water's still flowing out of this, but I don't want it to be like soaking wet because I don't want it to take over. I just want it to kind of look like a dirty sidewalk, but not like a filthy sidewalk, if you will. So I'm just gonna come in, and when I do this thing with the baby wipe, I always make sure it's a clean section, so I'm not like putting red where it should be black. And if you want, we can come down, where did it go? And we can go ahead and color this down here gray. All right, now I'm going to color these in with a little bit of gray. And right in here also. I'm not even paying attention to the perfect little lines. And then I'm going to come back with this shadow mauve. And I'm going to like flick it out kind of like if I was more or less using Copic markers, because I really want this to have a shadow that's coming from the bottom of the house. He is cleaning that brayer, guys. Guess what? We are having Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. Now, Thanksgiving in America is not till November, the end of November. But my dad and my stepmom are coming down for the night to my sister's. She calls it a camp. It's not. It's a summer home. To my sister's house. So I love Thanksgiving food, American Thanksgiving food. So my sister said, you know what? Let's have Thanksgiving. Instead of just always having our regular Cajun, you know, like gumbo, or she is cooking gumbo though for my husband. But instead of just having like gumbo or, you know, frying something, we're going to have turkey and ham. And my sister, I don't cook, but my sister does. So I'm using two different grays. So this is like a really bluish gray, and now I'm coming in with this cool gray. And I like the way these grays, I know a lot of people don't like these grays. I like the way they play together, because it kind of gives it a line of, like, see how this looks like a line of snow buildup right here? But then I don't want to leave all this white, so I'm going to come in with this other gray and like fill in. So anyway, so my sister said, let's just have Thanksgiving dinner. Why not? Who cares, right? So tomorrow we're going to my sister's house, and my dad and my stepmom's coming from Texas because they live in Texas. And we're bringing our grandkids. And she lives, it's her second house. So her camp, you know, where they go hunting and stuff. It's about 2 hours from here. It's 3 hours from her house. So we're going to go there and hang out and eat turkey and ham. And it's crazy because, like, my niece and nephew, you know, they're teenagers, 18 and 17. My sister's kids, they're like, oh yeah, let's do Thanksgiving. So it's fun. So I'm just trying to give this a whole lot of texture. Can you guys see that? By using two different grays. This is like a blue gray, and then this is more like a cool gray. Actually, that's what it's called, cool gray. So I'm going to make sure my brush is clean, and I'm just going to come and just lightly add a little bit of water, just to make it look even. Oops, I spilled my water. Didn't spill it everywhere. Close. So I'm just going to come in here and add some water to this just to knock down some of that color. All right, we are pretty much done. Okay, well, with the coloring. So let me show you something. Let me show you my little trick to, if you have to hurry and color something like, oh, I spilled it again. Babe, can you get me a paper towel? It should be right here somewhere. So, is that dry? Mm-hmm. It's good. No, it's not dry. This one is, though. This was dry because we didn't close the baby wipes from last time. Here, if you just want to take this away from me so I stop spilling it. Okay. So, let's say you've colored and you're not really happy with all your blending, okay? This is a good trick. You can take a baby wipe and just lay it down and push it down. Now the baby wipe is barely wet, right? So and I'm not moving the baby wipe. I'm just allowing it to, see, it barely picks up any color whatsoever, okay? But it does pick up enough color to fix any imperfections you might have, like putting red and blue next to each other and making purple. Like right there. Okay. So we're gonna let this dry. I'm gonna dry it real quick. Let me get my heat gun. Excuse me, guys. All the dogs are laying by my feet. All right, so let me just dry this real quick. Just because now we're going to do some masking and we're going to blend. When you dry the back of it, it helps it with warping. It's still going to warp a little bit, and I'm going to have to mat this on another piece of paper, but this keeps it from getting too warped. What are you looking at? I did knock it. It might have, I think it zoomed in a little bit. We don't have Thanksgiving in Australia. We're crazy that we usually have a hot meal with turkey and ham and roast potatoes, the whole deal at Christmas. Oh, yeah. Well, technically, what we eat for Thanksgiving is also what we eat for Christmas. Some families don't. I know a lot of families do like steak and they barbecue on one of them. But we like Thanksgiving food. Or I like... Some of us like Thanksgiving food. The majority of us like Thanksgiving food. Matt doesn't really like turkey. He'd rather have gumbo or jambalaya or some kind of Cajun dish. And usually my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, is home. He works in Israel. But he's not home right now. He's actually just flew back to Israel. He works on a natural oil rig. Okay, so let me tell you what we're going to do before I just do it. So here I took masking paper. This is actually Gina K's masking paper, and I stamped the village onto the masking paper, okay? And then I just fussy cut around the top of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do ink blending on top of this. So I'm going to put this on top. And this is going to conceal all of my coloring and my village. It's going to hide it, not conceal it. It's going to hide it. So in a minute, when I do ink blending right here, it's going to protect it. Now this is the second time I've used this mask, okay? I usually wouldn't use it more than twice. But this is Gina K's masking paper, which I had never used it before. I really like it. I found I had never really used it. I had always used like this off-brand on a roll that I had, but this I really like. I was very pleasantly surprised. So let me grab my life-changing blender brushes, and what we're going to do is we're going to create this look where it has a sky, then it comes up and it has a nighttime sky over our village, like that. So I have oxides because they blend so easily together. So I have black soot, chipped sapphire, tumble glass, and broken china. So we're just going to use 4 colors for blending. I'm not going to go hog wild. Pasta, yeah. Where's my... And let me grab scratch paper. Don't want wet scratch paper though. Okay. So being lazy, I just don't like to have to constantly clean my mat or my glass mat. So we're going to use I'm going to use scratch paper. All right, so the very first, let me make sure I know which are which. That is chipped sapphire, tumble glass, black soot, and broken china. All right, so I'm going to start with tumble glass. And I am going to blend, let me just double check to make sure. So I am going to blend right on top over these, the creases, the folds. It doesn't really matter because we're not going to see them. They're going to be glued shut. So it's okay if you don't get perfect blending. So I'm not even going to blend the center ones. I'm just going to skip up here now. So this is tumble glass. So it's going to give me a light blue. Tumble glass is my favorite color of all the oxides, of all Tim Holtz colors. Okay, so there's a little bit of Tumble Glass. Notice how I'm holding my brush, and I can come in as heavy-handed or as light. I've heard some people say that you cannot use blending brushes for a dark finish. I don't know who came up with that, but that is not true. Blending brushes can do any type of finish you want. So here is Broken China. Now, this is Bristol Smooth. So Bristol Smooth is the best cardstock to use for blending. And I know that might sound like, oh, Nicole, it's the best one out of all of them. Yes, it absolutely is the best shade for blending. It has that coating on it, the same coating that allows it to be used well with zig markers. So I'm coming back with some more Broken China. Now I'm going to come in with Chip Sapphire. I love Chip Sapphire. I haven't used the Prize Ribbon Blue yet. I don't know, I just haven't. So I'm going with Chip Sapphire because I didn't want to take the chance of not liking the Prize Blue. I wanted more of a deep purple right here. So let me show you how cool this is. I really like the way that Broken China, you see that? Not cute. But I love the way when you sit here and just blend this Broken China and Chip Sapphire together. It just makes the perfect sky. Look at that blend. Do you see that? And you don't always have to go in circles with your blending brushes. You can just go up and down, back and forth across your lines, and you'll get great blends. Let me come in with a little bit more Tumble Glass. You know, I am going to add the Tumble Glass all right here. Just in case it happens to show, I am going to go ahead, just in case. Okay. Okay, so we have Tumble Glass, then we have Broken China, and then we have Chip Sapphire. I'm going to add a little bit more Chip Sapphire, because I don't think I got it high enough. So let me get, and if you notice when I'm blending, I'm starting off nice and soft, and then I'm pushing my brush all the way down. That is a great way to not waste ink. It's one of the benefits of using life-changing blender brushes. They do not absorb your ink. So like foam, when you use a piece of foam, sucks up your ink and it actually wastes it. Where blending brushes do not do that because the synthetic hairs, the synthetic bristles in a blender brush, or at least from our blender brushes, they don't absorb ink. And so since they don't absorb ink, you do not get a big waste of ink. All right, so next I'm going to go with Black Soot. Just going to hold it down like this. And I'm going to come in. And you might say, oh my gosh, Nicole, that is so dark. Look at that. What did you do? You messed up your whole card. Nay, nay. We're going to come back in with some Chip Sapphire and we're just going to blend that in. Oh, for the love of oxides, huh? Look at that. It's amazing what oxides do. So easy to blend with. So super easy to create that line. I'm going to come in here a little bit more. All right, I'm going to add just a little bit of dark ink down here, just a little, not too much. But I just noticed the other one, it was just a little too perfect on my other card. So I just want to add, and I should be using a smaller brush for this, but oh well. But you see, it lets you add like a little cloud coverage right there. So that's good. So let me just blend this in a little bit more. so there we go. So there's our sky, okay? And then here, now I'm going to go ahead and pull this off gently. And voila! Our town, our village, has a sky. And when it's all folded up, you'll see the sky against the village. Okay, let me close these up. Get rid of all this. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to color the village. We're going to add some glitz. So I'm going to take my paper glitz sparkle and I'm going to water it down. And that's going to allow me to paint. So I'm just going to take a little bit with this fan brush and I'm going to put it into a little dish. Close this. And then I'm going to add some water to this little dish. And then I'm going to take this fan brush and I'm just going to mix this up, okay? I'm watering down our paper glitz, the color sparkle. And I'm doing this because I'm making a wash, a super glittery wash. I don't want to cover the color, so I don't want to put it on like full strength concentrated. So I'm just going to water this down. See how fast that was? And you still keep the amazing shimmery goodness of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to paint over some of the village. Not all the village, but just some of it. So where's my water brush? There it is. I'm going to make sure I wash off my water brush because I have done things before like it was red and I dipped it in and the whole thing. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to just come in here, guys, and I'm just literally going to just paint over the house with the glitz, the watered down sparkle. Now, if Michelle's here, Michelle has shown you how to water this down before. And when she showed you before, she used it for flicking. So then she flicked it all over her project. Well, here I'm created a glaze. So I'm just going to come in and add this glaze. And you know, I was thinking the other day, you know, you could water this paper glitz down and then use it in your water brush as your water. So you're basically, you would be watercoloring with sparkle instead of just plain water. So I'm just coming in here and adding some sparkle. Oops, I got some purple. I got some red in my blue. It's okay. Use a baby wipe. So I'm just doing those two houses. I'm going to do this roof. I don't want to do the whole thing sparkly. I just want to add touches of sparkle. So I'm going to come down here and add it to the snow. Just a little bit of snow. And I think I'm going to add it to the bottom. Just flick a little of it out. Coming from the house, underneath the house, the shadows. Okay, so let's see if I can show you guys what it looks like. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see it or not. The sparkle. I'm not good at this. Okay, hopefully you got to see it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is, remember we have this paper glitz over here. Good job, Nicole. I had watered down this paper glitz. So those of y'all that might have come a few minutes later than the rest, this is our Snowdrop white paper glaze, and I've added water to it. Okay, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add some of this glitz to this. Some of the watered down glitz, because I'm just going to throw that away. And this is going to be what I'm going to flick all over my card. So I just took paper glaze. I think I did it too thin. So this is watered down paper glaze. The Snowdrop white. Let me add a little more. I'm watering down paper glaze because paper glaze is not going to absorb into your paper. It's going to dry on top, and it's going to stay. The little white snow will actually stay. Earlier, I used a different product because I was just trying to rush, and I forgot to water it down. I used a different product from a different company just to mist some white, and all it did was just absorb into the paper. It did not do anything for my card. So here, this paper glaze, once I get it the right consistency, and I should just keep this watered down in a teeny tiny little jar so I don't have to do this. All right, so this is our new fan brush, by the way. The bristles are very thin, so they're great for flicking and mixing things. Let me get rid of this. All right, so here's our background. Let's see if I can manage not to flick everything. I usually do. You made a card like 5 minutes ago where I used paper glitz exactly like you did. Oh, awesome, Michelle. Okay, so here's our watered down paper glitz. Paper glaze, and I'm going to flick it directly on top of our house as well because it's snowing everywhere, not just at the top. So the fan brush works really well because it has such a long handle. You can actually do this, or you can just flick like I showed. All right, let me move this out of the way. And I have a little bit of glitz left right here. So I'm gonna stick my brush into this glitz, and I'm gonna flick with glitz also, the watered down glitz. And we are going to be shiny, let me tell you. All right, so guys, I'm going to have to dry this. We're actually almost done, to be honest with you. Another use for the little white sequence tray. I love these, the little cheap sequence trays. We actually give these away. Every once in a while, we'll just give prizes away, and we will throw these into your orders just for no reason. So I'm going to dry this. So the paper glaze is going to dry on top. It's not going to absorb into the paper. So do you see how it's actually, if you guys can see that, it doesn't absorb. So you can actually still see the snowflakes. Not sure if you guys can see it. Okay, so I think it's dry enough. Do you see how it remains? All right, so now what we're going to do is I have already created Santa Clauses. So I have a red Santa Claus and a silver Santa Claus. And these come from this die cover plate that we have at Picket Fence Studios. So I think this is called Santa Comes to Town. A2 Santa Comes to Town cover plates. So what I did is I covered paper with glitz like I did in the very beginning I showed you. And then I cut out like 4 more of the cover plates in just plain white. And I glued it all together so it feels like chipboard now. I mean, it's really thick because I wanted to make sure it didn't like sway whenever my recipients would get this card. So I'm just going to soak up a little bit of this glitz and glaze that it's dry. Okay. All right, so now we need to turn this over and we need to glue our card together. So those of you that weren't here the other night when I showed them how to make this card, we have to adhere the inside together. So this is the back of the card. And you can always tell what's the back because the flaps lay flat. So the inside of the card should be mountain, valley, mountain, valley, mountain. And your flaps lay flat. Now, when I turn this over, this is the back of the card. I can tell this is the back of the card because the flaps do not lay flat. Do you see how they're still, like, they're not flat. They're kind of raised. Also, it starts with a valley. So it's valley, mountain, valley, mountain, valley. So when it starts with valleys and the flaps are not laid down flat, that's your back. So we're going to take double stick tape. And we're going to stick these together. We're going to glue these shut because this is going to make our hinge, which is what's going to help our card, which is what's going to make our card 3-dimensional. So we're going to glue these together. And I am going to put 2 strips of double-sided tape because this is like when you build a mini album. If you don't take special attention and do your spine well, take your time with your spine, the whole book falls apart. Well, that's the same premise. And we do not want this thing to fall apart after all of this. So those of you that maybe came a little bit later, this is exactly what we did the other night with the same folds and the same scores, except I took it and I put it in my trimmer and I cut it in half vertically, so it made 2 smaller cards. Just because I wanted a card that was smaller. So I'm just going to continue to tape these shut. Don't you love watching someone fight with tape? It's just, you know, makes your day, right? I'm going to glue these shut, tape these shut. And this is going to make our spine. Whoops. I've been working with my hands all day today. They're a little bit tired. Sorry about that. All right, so we're going to glue this. It's all shut. So there's the outside, okay? And when you flip it over, what it has done is it has created these openings. And in those openings, that's where we're going to glue our Santa Claus. So we're going to put the red Santa Claus. I just want to make sure, see, so he's A2. So he fits this half a card because basically I took half. I always do the same with foam tape. Yeah, and my fingers are really tired because well, I've been working with my hands all day today and they just get tired after a while. So here's our Santa Claus and he is going to look how cool. I know, I'm sorry, but he looks so good on that night sky. So here I'm going to remove him for a second, and I'm going to put tape in here. I really want to make sure this stays shut. So I'm going to make sure I put, it's all got tape. Now I could use liquid glue for this, but I'm gonna be honest, you have to sit there and hold it and keep it shut and, you know, be patient and wait for it to dry a little bit. And I don't think we want to watch glue dry. At least I don't want to. All right, so let me just make sure he's going in the right space. If you want to put his shoes showing, you can. All right, so there you go, Santa. Okay, so all that did was really adhere this. Did it adhere? No. Santa Claus is going to need a little bit more tape, like right there, because there's no tape on top of his red feet. So I'm just going to put some more tape. This thing is not a tool, it's more like a weapon. This pointed in. All right. Those of you that are still hanging in on, thank you. I appreciate you still hanging in there. There's no such thing as liking PFS too much. Aw, that's so sweet, Meg. Thank you. All right, now we have our Merry Christmas word topper die. Okay, where is it? I already had a die cut. Oh, here it is. So here is our Merry Christmas word topper die. Now this I cut out of the sparkle paper glitz paper that I showed on the very beginning how to create with the brayer. So I die cut that. And paper glitz also, it thickens your paper. So here, this is like really thick. And normally whenever I use a word topper die, I like to double or triple the thickness of the letters. But here, you don't need to. So here, it just is going to fit just like so. And if you wanted to, you could put it in here to make it even closer to Santa Claus. Let's see, do I like it here? Or do I like it here? I think I like it better on the outside. Yes? Inside or outside? I think I like it on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the inside. So I'm going to put some more tape. Let's see, put our Merry Christmas in the center. Actually, before I do that, let me trim it. I'm just gonna fold it back instead of marking it. Okay, so then I'm gonna take a pair of scissors and just cross your fingers that it's right. And are you correct? No, a little too long. Let me put more tape. Okay. Oh, guys, it's been a long term. This has been a long episode. Yeah, I like it on the inside too. This isn't like a live, it's more like an episode going on so long. All right, so let me put this in here. This is the trickiest part for me, to make sure I actually get it in there where it's supposed to be. My hands are tired, sorry. Okay. Close it all up. And voila. Now our Christmas, our Santa Claus, and our Merry Christmas are standing up. Ta-da! So there. So when your recipient gets this card, and I am going to cover the outside with something pretty. Not tonight. When they open it up, oh look, it's Santa Claus coming to the village, and Merry Christmas. Yay! Oh, of course. What else would I be doing on a Friday night? Watching TV, that's what I would be doing. Okay, so this die set also comes with 2 extra presents. So I die cut a whole bunch of presents earlier. And I didn't get to put them in my card, but I think we should put some presents inside his bag. So I cut them out with different types of paper that I had made with glips. We could actually even make them coming out from the back. Oh, I like that. Let me put a little tape on this. So Santa Claus actually comes attached to a line on the cover plate, but I cut him off of the, you could have used the whole cover plate in that little section, but I decided I wanted to cut him off so he wouldn't be so floppy. So let me see, I'm gonna put this present like it's coming out. It's falling out of his bag. Oops, not that far. There we go, 1 present. And then where is it? I must have left it in my studio. He comes attached to a line, and I just cut him off. But there is a bigger present attached to the line. Just want to make sure it doesn't go out of the card. That it stays in. All right, and then I made these little ones using the snow paper that I created. So I can put one little one right there. If I can find the end of my tape. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you like it. I struggled with a card to do tonight. Well, I didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do. So then I hadn't used the Santa Claus cover plate yet. So I decided I was going to use it tonight. And now I have 2 Christmas cards to give away. Oh, there we go. Should we put a little present down here? Or is it enough? I think it's enough. Let's see. Maybe a silver one. Nope, I think we're good. And voila, we are finished. So there's Santa Claus. And if you wanted to, you could come back and put another Santa Claus on the back of this to make this, you know, a little cleaner of a finish. However, this is a handmade card. So perfection, you know, like Lydia says, is for serial killers, not just, we're card makers. We're not perfectionists, right? So there you go, guys. So here he is. Let me close him up. And I'm just going to cut paper, but I am going to have to make a nice thick score line more than normal. So this lays flat. So when it opens, it lays like such. So ta-da! It came out cute. I like it. So here's the one I made earlier today. That was my prototype. So I have, I cut the sand out with the the snow paper that I made. And then I cut, this one needs to, I didn't glue this one in because this one, so you see how the letters are going kind of wonky? It's thin. So this is when I will cut out like 2 or 3 more of the word toppers and glue them together. So that way when it stands up, my C doesn't look all crazy like it is right there. So, and that will be that one. Pretty close to each other. I like the red door. Look, last time I did a blue door. I like the red door. Yeah. Yep, they came out pretty close to each other. But look at the difference. Okay, let me show you. This is another product, and this is paper glaze and paper glitz. Do you see the difference? There's a huge difference. Now this one's kind of like a little muted. I might go back and add a little of that muted on top of this because I actually do like it. But on top of the house, this right here, you can't even see the snow, but on here, because of the paper glaze, it didn't absorb into it, and you can actually still see the snow. So that makes me happy. All right, guys. And then here's the other one that I made the other night with larger. And basically I did the same thing, but I just cut it in half. So that let me make, this is an A2 card, a little bit smaller than A2. But it let me get 2 cards out of 1 piece of paper. So there you go. So real quick, guys, this is Santa Comes to Town A2 cover plates. I don't know. Oh, here he is. So you see, he does come attached to a line, and there's a present. That's here. And then in the same set, you get these other 2 presents, and you get this die that says Santa's Coming to Town. So you get, it's actually a 4-piece set. And then this is the Merry Christmas word topper die, which the word toppers were designed for actually mixed media card projects, because a lot of us, after we put paper glaze and stuff down like this, there's like no place to put a sentiment, right? So I made these word toppers that are very thick at the bottom, and this is actually meant for you to stamp on. So right here we have stamps that you could say Merry Christmas, and then, you know, we have a stamp that says you filthy animal or something like that. Merry Christmas, you're in my thoughts and prayers, something like that. And one of the sets that I created for this is part of the flash sale. So that stamp set that's on the flash sale, you can use to stamp on top of the Merry Christmas word topper or any of them. And it's like a subtitle. So it's like a second title for your card. So, all right, guys. Well, let me call, we're done for tonight, but I am going to call Matt in here because I'm scared to touch the camera. After all of this, I might push the wrong button. Oh, I need to come back and add him some red presents, don't I? Some red and silver presents. Oh, there he is. He heard me. All right, guys. Let me say bye first. Have a good night. Santa Claus is coming to town. Here's our cards. Well, I hope you guys have a nice evening. I think I'm going to call it a night. Sweet dreams, guys. Bye-bye.